Sentite questa voce?
Dear friends, can you hear this voice? Can you hear it? Well, dear friends, it is the voice of Stefano Meloccaro, and I say Stefano Meloccaro, not an ordinary fool. Just stop, wait a minute. Now, this is what we agreed on. There's a very young man here, very excited, very deserving, who said, I'm going to introduce you. So now he's going to enter the stage. And he will do his little introduction. He's going to read it. He doesn't know it by heart. But please be merciful with him. So when you see him, he will come out, do his introduction. Then please a round of applause for Meloccaro, and then also for me. Just wait a minute. I'm going to introduce Giovanni, and then Giovanni is going to introduce Meloccaro. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh wait, is this the first time your first time on a stage? So for the first time on the stage of the Rimini meeting, Giovanni Gazzoli. Thank you, and good evening, everyone. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the great Stefano Meloccaro for his introduction and for being here today. Today's meeting was organized together with the exhibition Enjoy the Game, when sport moves history, and I would like to invite all of you to go and see it. We decided to organize this exhibition because of our common experience, sport as a place of happiness. This experience then became a question. Does sport have anything to do with family life, work? Or is it just temporary, something fun, but just for a moment that has nothing to do with our everyday life? Who could answer this question if not someone who made sport the center of their life? Just think of Jesse Owens, Valentino Rossi, many other people. They all, to quote John Paul II, the real athlete is someone who, thanks to their own success, conveys values to every man and has values typical not only of a sportsman but of every man. And if you think about it, this is why Roger Federer is such a human figure. And we found out that even kings are human. A person who took seriously his own passion, he suffered, he learned something new every single time. And to tell you about such a beauty, we needed someone who actually knew him. Someone who could talk about him without losing his humanity. Mr. Meloccaro is definitely the most suitable and nice person to do this. What does Federer has to do with the meeting's title? He took his passion seriously, his desire for happiness seriously, and he changed not only his personal story, but the world history. Now, I would like to talk about a quote by Wallace, who wrote about Federer. He said that inspiration is contagious, has many forms, and even just seeing vulnerability being touched by beauty, being changed by beauty, then you feel touched. You are touched and you feel happy. I thank you all for being here, and I would like to give the floor to the great Stefano Meloccaro. Enjoy the game. Not bad. Well, what do you think? Well, good job. Dear friends, Giovanni Gazzoli. Good job. Well, I didn't expect this. I wasn't expecting this. Oh, wait. So many people here. But why? I usually do this at dinner with friends, just we talk about Federer, but it is only 12 of us, usually at my house. But here I see so many people. It's written there, Stefano Meloccaro. Yes, what Nicola Fiore did with Fiorello. Without Roger Federer, nothing would have been possible. The world wouldn't exist. But even without Fiorello, as long as I'm concerned, nothing would have been possible. And here it is. How many of you actually watch Federer's matches? This is the holy grail. I mean, what else can I say? Just raise your hands if you've never seen Federer play. Almost no one. Almost no one. There's very little of you. Raise your hands. This is the tool. I know it sounds kind of strange and it may be quite ambiguous, but who knows Federer knows it. Just let me put this away. If you know Federer, then you know this is the newest model. Before this, Federer's racket was completely black, and now it's new with the white piece. So this is the tool. Of course, this is not the one he used, this is the one I use. But how lucky am I? I'm a sports journalist. I write about tennis. Oh, wait, can I go on? Oh, DAZN is just great. New channel, great. Subscribe. So I work for Sky, but we have nothing to do with DAZN. As long as it's Atalanta-Frosinone match, then you can broadcast it on DAZN. But just think about this. I hope it will never ever happen. Just think the channel DAZN buying the rights to broadcast tennis matches. Just think about this. In 2 years, sometimes miracles do happen. The Wimbledon final between Federer and Nadal broadcast by DAZN. But luckily, Sky has already bought these rights up until 2022. Luckily, thank God. Wait. Let me finish my speech about DAZN. Think about this. Match point, Federer, you know how he does what he does. Stays there, and then what? This is how DAZN works. And then you see buffering. Some people would die from a heart attack, but this won't happen because we have Wimbledon. Now, this was what I wanted to say about this. This is my Wilson rucksack, my Wilson bag. I told Wilson, please give me at least this bag. I'm going to talk about Federer. So I saved 70 euros, thanks God. I wanted to call this conference, this dialogue, Federer saved my life, and I really do believe this. Because from a certain point of view, without Roger Federer, without all of his successes, in tennis without everything he has done for tennis, I probably wouldn't be doing this job. And Roger Federer's story, shows us that if you have a great talent but you waste it, there are many examples of this, and we were talking about this before. In the past, there were very, very talented Italian tennis players. They could do forehand, backhand, and all of this. But what makes Federer different is that he fell in love with what he was doing. You need to love what you're doing nowadays, otherwise you're going to become mad. If you do not believe in what you're doing, if you're not maniac, as Federer is and all of his friends, then you will never get anywhere. And at 35, 40 years old, he still wins. In 2012 at Wimbledon, he had won his last tournament. But if you're not crazy about what you do, then you will never be able to play a game like this.
But he has to be consistent and persist with it.
Love to do.
To cash in. 3-love may seem like a handy lead, but it's only the one break, and if anyone can... Are you kidding me? Easy at home. But let me tell you, this is ridiculous.
Oh, it's already over. Okay. Is here Michele Nardi, maybe? Oh, yes. Come here, please. Please, be brave enough and come here on the stage. Oh, here he is. Okay. So, dear friends, Michele Nardi. He is one of the most important people who took part in the exhibition. Well, speak here. Hi, everyone. So tell me, Michele, I told him, let's find out a video with 1 minute and a half length. Why didn't you put the match point in it? Oh, that's incompetence. That's totally incompetence. So is there Mattia? Is Mattia or Stefano there? What's Stefano's surname? Nizzola. Nizzola, okay. Stefano Nizzola, come up here on the stage, please. Yes, come here. Okay. Hi, Stefano. Hi. Okay, come here. I'm sorry. This is like a dream. I've never done anything like this before. Okay, Stefano, come here. Okay, do you all see them clearly? Okay, you go down there. Okay, so basically, the table is our tennis court. Okay, wait a second. Wait a second, because I will never do something like this again in my entire life. Okay, so this is how it works. The two of them. Okay, you called me first, so Michele, you're gonna be Federer, and Stefano, you're gonna be Nadal. I'm sorry, it's your turn tonight. Okay. So since we didn't watch the match point in the video, we're gonna have it live now on the stage, okay? The match point of that game. I don't want you to remember that by heart because it's impossible, but so this is how it works. You serve with tennis times, okay? You wait for the ball to arrive, you answer back, okay? You play for a little while, then the ball goes to the net and you won the Australian Open. So you kneel down as Federer did. But the most important thing is you, the public. It's the first thing. It's the first time and the last time I will ever do this in my entire life. So please use your imagination. Okay, here we have the ball, and you move your eyes from left to the right. Okay. Yeah, I know. It's something strange because I have real people in front of me for the first time, okay? I've never seen so many people like you here tonight. You're too many, actually, and it's like a dream for me. But Nardi, you didn't put the match point in the video, and now you're gonna pay for that. Is it live worldwide? Okay, yes. So, from all over the world, ladies and gentlemen, Michele Nardi is gonna be Roger Federer. Okay, great. Yes, maybe it's too much also for Michele Nardi. And then Stefano Rizzola. Okay, just for tonight you're gonna be Rafael Nadal. I might go crazy tonight. Okay, so let's give it a go. Public, you are going to watch a tennis game live, okay? So be careful. Of course, I want the ones who are sitting here on the front, you need to move your head, okay? From the left to the right, okay? I want all of your heads, 1,500 heads, moving from left to the right, okay? And until the set is over, then I want you to applaud. Okay, let's give it a go. Okay. No, wait. No. You're not credible enough. Wait, it's your fault. I'm sorry, I play rugby. I'm not a tennis player. Okay, now, public, your heads. I need your heads, okay? Just try and be a little bit slower, okay? Look at me and then look at the ball. Okay, great. Okay, try and exaggerate, okay, your movement with your heads, okay? I know you're a little bit shy, but please, this is not enough, okay? This movement that you're doing is not enough. You need to do something more. I want to put it on Instagram, okay? I want to upload it, so please follow me. So please, only for once, do what I'm asking you to do, okay? Do this way, do this movement, okay? You must exaggerate. How do you build tables in Rimini? Is it risky or not? Okay, I'm gonna try it. Okay. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. Quiet, please. Of course, I'm recording a video to you, to the public, okay? I'm only recording you. Okay? 48 quality seconds. Thank you. Thank you so much. Nardi, as I told you, I was about to talk about Federer, and that's what we've done tonight. We've just done, okay? Thank you to the public. You were so kind. Okay, as I was saying, Roger Federer saved me, and he didn't only save my life, he saved everybody's lives. When did Roger Federer's story start? Because the video that we watched before, it was the final of the finals. It was the biggest finals of all. He had undergone a surgery and he was in a phase of recovery, and nobody would have ever thought that Federer would have played against Nadal in a final game, okay? As you've seen, the two that you've seen in the video, they had met in October, some months before, and Nadal had just opened his tennis academy in Mallorca. And as you know, they are friends, so this is why they had met up each other. Federer had still had his knee that hurt a lot, and Nadal, his muscles were hurting a lot, so they saw each other, they met up, and they decided, okay, we're not gonna do any exhibition anymore because we seem like two old people, you know, as when two old men, two old people meet, and they start saying, oh, this is hurting and this is hurting, oh, that's terrible, okay. And this is what happened 3 months later. The video that we just watched, that was the final of the finals, because when they met there, it was like 23-11, and the last time that they had met in a slam final, it had been 5 or 6 years before, but Federer didn't win against Nadal since 2007. So 10 years had passed. 10 years, so think about it. After 10 years, you have Nadal, who is winning against you 3-1, 1 break more than you. Yeah, I know you're happy why I'm saying that. Well, think about this. Is it possible for Federer to win this game? Well, yes, he won, and that was a triumph, because since that moment, then everything that happened, you know, Federer supporters were like enthusiastic about him, and he also won Wimbledon the following year and also the Australia Open at the beginning of this year. But Federer's story, we know that he was a strong player, but it all starts in July 2001 when Federer plays this game. Do we have the match point here, Nardi? Okay, I hope so. Let's look at it.
Oh, that's a great shot. Right under the sidelines. Yep. Oh, yes. Oh, what a way to fight that.
Two points played, two fantastic points played.
Love 15.
That's
15, 14. Thank you.
He's done it. The champion is out.
Okay.
7-6, 5-7, 6-4, 6-7, 7-5.
Va bene, applauso.
All right, a round of applause for Roger. This was one of Wimbledon's games when Federer defeated Sampras in 2001. And people were already saying, oh, all, he's quite good. And then after a couple of years, he won Wimbledon in 2003. But why do I say that? Federer saved us all, because I was there. I'm quite old, and I paid for my first Wimbledon in liras, not in euros, with the lira. But Federer defeated Sampras, and the world realized that a star was born, that he would change the world. And at the same time, who was broadcasting this match in Italy? The deer? Well, yes, I see, everyone remembers it. Who was there before Sky? Telepiù. No, sorry, not Telepiù. The other one. Stream. Well, many people watched it, I'm sure. And then Stream and Telepiù united and gave life to Sky in 2013. I also should say that my first job was a tennis coach. We all remember the first time we got our salary for our first little job. So yes, I used to play tennis. But I did many other things before being a tennis journalist. I was telling before Michele Nardi, and also congratulations for the leaving the match point in the video this time. But you may remember Colpo Grosso, the TV show. Raise your hand. Well, not many people. Colpo Grosso. How can you not remember it? It was 1989. I suggest you all go watch it. Who won 12 episodes of Colpo Grosso? Even doing a striptease or coming only with a light blue rope? Stefano Meloccaro, yes. Me. Sometimes we need to do the so-called coming out, and I was the reigning champion of coming out of Colpo Grosso. But the greatest thing is that people sometimes ask me, how was it? There were so many beautiful young women around me, and then all of my friends tell me, I can't even imagine what you must have done there. Of course, nothing happened. And at the end of this TV program, I won a trip to the Seychelles Islands. They all asked me, did you go with a beautiful blonde girl from Bulgaria? No, with my mom. She had never taken a plane before, and I decided to take her with me. But why is Federer so important? Do you know why Federer still plays? I touched him. We shook hands. The last time it happened at Wimbledon this year, I interviewed him a couple of times. He even recognized me. So if I meet him on the streets, he will recognize me. That's just incredible. He may not remember my name, of course, but as I was saying before, when he arrives, you see a kind of light coming towards you. I think he doesn't even walk on earth. I think he kind of flies. He comes like a king, and he says, "Hello, Italian." And I think that's something. I think we have quite a nice bond. He knows I exist and he remembers I'm Italian. Also because I had interviewed him and there was a little accident. He took part to the Roland Garros final. He did just a wonderful thing. I meet with Marco Cecchinato at Wimbledon and I ask him, "How are you?" And he says, "Oh, wonderful. You won't believe this. I met Roger Federer at the lockers." You may know that the most important players at Wimbledon had private locker rooms. They have special rooms. But instead, all the other players have very, very ordinary locker rooms, maybe starting from the 37th in the rank of the strongest tennis players in the world. So my friend was telling me, I met with Federer and he recognized me, so I'm not the only one to be proud of Federer recognizing me and saying, "Hello, Italian." Federer, my friend told him, "Great match." And Federer said, "Well, thank you." And Sky Sport then told me that I had to interview Federer. I was very proud. I walked up to him, and since I am a very expert journalist, I thought, why talk about ordinary things, about his approach to the tournament, his strategy? No, I decided to talk about something else. I decided to ask Federer how it feels to know that for another player, a high from him is as important as a prize. So I told him, I met with Cecchinato, another player, and he said he met you and he was so happy. So even the fact that you're close to us and that you were close to him, it's a kind of a prize. I told him, I met my friend Cecchinato 30 years ago and I meant 30 seconds ago. So a little mistake, just understand me. I had Federer just in front of me. I got confused. But he started laughing and said, "Oh, really? 30 years ago? Well, a lot of time has gone by." And compared to this, the journalist who didn't recognize Genoa's mayor is really nothing. But unfortunately, we all have to go through this if you're a journalist. But Federer starts laughing. And now what happened? I don't know if you know a specific medicine that old people use when their bones hurt. It is just ibuprofen. What does it do? It's a painkiller. It is an Italian medicine called cibalgina, which is, as I said, a painkiller, a ibuprofen basically. Have you ever wondered where does this acronym come from? Acronym made up of Ciba and Algina. Ciba means something that's chemical, then industry, so C-I-B-A. Chemical industry, Basel. So Chiba, so this company that produces painkiller, was born in the place where after 100 years would be born the greatest tennis player of all time, the player who would save us all. But just wait. Roger's father, Robert Federer, do you know where he used to work? He worked at Chiba. And he alleviates our suffering, our pain. Robert Federer in the 70s used to work for Chiba. And at one point he was moved to a further country. He went to work to South Africa for Chiba. And he met with a secretary there, Lynette, Roger Federer's mother. So Cibalgina doesn't only alleviate our pain, but he favors love encounters. It promotes love encounters. So Robert and Lynette, well, yes, had an encounter. They copulated and create our savior, Roger Federer, in 1981. But starting from 1970, when they were in South Africa, they met through tennis. And who was a prisoner at Ellis Island in those years? Well, Nelson Mandela. You may think, what does Nelson Mandela has to do with this story? Let me explain. The year Federer was born, 1981, who played at the Wimbledon final? Borg and Mecca. The ones the movie is about. Björk and McEnroe. Nelson Mandela, the person that would save the world as well, so we could definitely compare Federer and Nelson Mandela. So Nelson Mandela asked the prison guards for a small radio. Well, I don't know why he liked tennis, but still. He asked for a little radio and he listened to the Wimbledon final via radio, the final between Björk and McEnroe. It's just incredible. Nelson Mandela listened to that match, to that game. Have you read the book Open? You may know of this book. Agassi wrote the book Open. Agassi, he had always played tennis, and thanks to Mandela, Agassi found out he could help other people as well. After he met with Nelson Mandela, he even created a charity. And in this book, the meeting between Agassi and Mandela is told. Agassi says, I was immediately struck by his personality, by the energy he conveyed, because Mandela, it was clear he could do something for the world. But wait, I talked to someone who was there when Agassi and Mandela met. So, yes, of course, life teaches us we should never believe everything we hear, but still, I want to tell you this story. He was there. He's my friend. And this is how this meeting went. They met, and Agassi asked Nelson Mandela, "What's the best restaurant in Johannesburg?" The episode that in this book is told so wonderfully, the person that would save the world, well, what he actually asked for was, where can I eat good fish in Johannesburg? Now, would you like to see the real start of Roger Federer? It's very nice. 1 minute and a half.
Beh, un applausetto glielo posso...
Well, let's give this video a round of applause. So, in Basel, Robert Federer was born, Roger Federer was born there, the Cibalgina was born there, the Tritzas. But in Basel, one other thing was born as well. When you type on the computer, what is the character that you use, the font that you use? Maybe you use Times New Roman, it might be the most common one. Well, I use another one, another type of font, which is Helvetica. It's the most common and the most famous in the world. I've studied it. So, in 1957, someone from Basel there, actually from Monkenstein, which is the neighborhood where specifically Federer was born, someone called Max Edinburgh, by the As Business, who is another tennis player, so everything happens for a reason. So this guy invented this font named Helvetica, which is the most common font that everyone uses. Do you want to know, for example, what products use Helvetica? The Apple, iPhone, NASA, BMW, Kawasaki, Lufthansa, Nestle, Panasonic, Scotch, Shuttle. So all of these brands, they are written in the Helvetica font. And it is called Helvetica because that font was born where Federer was born. A famous graphic designer, computerized graphic designer, defined Helvetica as something linear, essential, simple, clean, elegant, and which is quite legible, and in a very short amount of time it conquered the world. So isn't this a good definition for Federer as well? Well, yes, of course. Everything was born there in that city, in Basel, in Morgenstein. And of course, Federer supporters want to imitate Federer. For example, if you think of our friend here, Michele Nardi, he's a very elegant, smart man. He doesn't sweat at all. He's very essential. You're like Helvetica. You're like the font. But not all of them are like this. Not all of the supporters are like this. As the word Helvetica, that means Swiss, as Roger Federer was, we can say that Federer is a good person because he has got a great deal of supporters. I play in Rome in a very good tennis court, Due Ponti, and Gigi is there. Gigi is a man, he's a tennis player, and he's a Federer supporter. And he's a real man, okay? I'm not lying. And Gigi doesn't know how to explain that I play there, I play tennis there, and then 1 week later I am on TV and I'm interviewing Federer, and he cannot explain it to himself because he says Federer is like God to me, and I see someone who talks to God and he's here close to me. That's not possible. So Helvetica, the font, a Swiss person. I think Gigi doesn't know how Helvetica, the Helvetica word is written, but he is a good Federer supporter. So when Gigi meets up with me in the Due Ponti lockers room, and it's a very wide locker room, even though I'm far away from him, no matter what Federer has done, maybe he has won, maybe he has lost, maybe he's going to play the next game, I don't know. If Gigi knows that I'm going to meet with Federer, he calls me and with a Roman dialect he says, "Hey, how is Helvetica doing?" Helvetica doing in a Roman dialect. So he's not able to pronounce the word Helvetica properly. He pronounces it Helvetico in a Roman accent. And then he comes at me, he touches at me, and with this Roman dialect, he starts touching me, and it's kind of disturbing sometimes. And then I get a little bit upset because he kind of exaggerates sometimes. And then I answer him back, yes, I think Roger is going to play, is likely that he's going to win. Oh, he's going to win. Well, yes, I think that he always has a chance. But do you think that Helvetico is going to win? Well, I don't know. Maybe yes. I think that Federer is going to keep playing until he wants because he wants it. Oh, yes, Helvetico is so good at it. Yes, Gigi, he's so good. Well, let's give Gigi Luigi a round of applause. He doesn't know, of course, that it was mentioned by me right now. Have you ever seen the spot with Federer and the Fly? Well, let's watch it.
Io sta cosa l'ho trovata, cioè.
I found this just genius. Well, if you're a genius, you're always a genius. So he's a great actor, he's beautiful, nice, rich, he's handsome, but who thought, well, if we want to make a spot on a flexible soon, we could use Federer chasing a fly. This person is just a genius. 2008, when Federer lost to Nadal, when he understood the world, well, is not always a good place. Nadal won at the very last set, 9-7. This match ended very late, and I was there crying in my room. But do you remember Federer going around with a cardigan? That wonderful cardigan. Who could wear such a cardigan, a cotton cardigan? A little beige with the Wimbledon symbol there. Who could wear this if not Federer? Where at the time I was working for Sky. And next to Wimbledon there was a Nike shop, and there was that cardigan. I went back and forth, and I kept seeing it. At the end I decided to walk in, Well, of course, I'm not Roger Federer, but I tried it on, medium size, posed in front of a mirror, and thought, wonderful. Would have you bought Federer's cardigan? It was quite expensive, but not much. Well, like £400, 450 maybe. Well, I'm sorry, but nice things have a cost. So about 400 euros, but it was Roger Federer's cardigan. And I tried it on almost every single day during that tournament. And kept on thinking, I'm going to buy it, I'm going to buy this. I went up to the cashier, paid for it, and bought it. I took it to my room, and for the first time I tried it on, not in the shop, but in my room, in my real life, in front of the mirror. And at that point, I saw my life flashing before my eyes, and I realized I was just me, from my very small town of Italy, Rieti, in front of the mirror, and thought, well, who do I think I am, dressed like this? What do I do with Federer's cardigan? So the next day I took it back because I still had the receipt. The receipt. I used to play at a local tennis court, so quite different from playing in professional tournaments. So do you think I made the right decision? Yes, just give me a round of applause. But during that tournament, that Wimbledon tournament, I interviewed Roger Federer before the semi-final. He had just won. We were waiting for the other match to start. It was live, and I spent about 15 minutes next to Federer talking about very ordinary things, waiting for the live stream. And I had bought Federer's belt, a Nike belt, the one that has the letters R and F. And at one point during the interview, before the interview, it was court number 14, and I asked him, how is it to play in this tennis court? The last time I played here, I lost to my rival, so he perfectly remembered the day he lost, the last time he played there, the points, everything. So we can say that these tennis players are kind of scientists. And I decided to tell him, look, I bought this belt. He burst out laughing. And then he marked his future rivals, and then he ended up giving a very high mark to the one that would actually win the tournament. Now another video, another clip, a clip with Djokovic, the one with a racket which is very similar to this. This gesture may remind you of something.
Guardate questo.
There's plenty of tennis left to play. Or at least that's what Federer hopes. 15 left. Djokovic is a very emotional player too. So Federer's got to make Novak doubt himself a little bit right now. That's what Federer's always been able to do to the other side of the net in all those years where he dominated. just not a wooable guy.
Well, it was a problem for him early in his career, and the crowd now has turned positive for Roger.
Questo per dire di come la perfezione non...
As you can see, perfection does not exist. Well, you know, when he was a young boy, he was quite a difficult boy, you know. Who've seen the exhibition knows it. There is a famous story. When he was 14, he used to train, and he threw so many rackets to the wall, and once it got stuck in the wall. It was unbelievable, and his coach was so mad at him that he punished him, and he was forced to clean all the bathrooms of that center for a week, and he had to do that in the morning at 6 a.m. If you know Federer, you know that it has never wake up before 10 a.m. in the morning. So imagine this tennis player, this good tennis player, he cleans the bathrooms for 1 week. Well, this happened when he was 14. Then he gave up throwing rackets to the wall, and he became what he is now. Well, unfortunately, our time is almost over. I think we have said a lot of things, but there is still something more that you need to know. I have asked Roger Federer if he could play against me. I know you're laughing. Well, you're not respectful towards me. And you're laughing again. Well, your respect is zero. Okay, is this what I deserve? Well, yes, okay, maybe it is what I deserve. Okay, fair enough. But this is what I've truly done. Well, you need to understand, I'm just an easy boy. I'm a simple boy, and I was lucky in my life, but still, I'm a very simple boy. You know, in Wimbledon, between the first and the second week, you have the Sunday in the middle where nobody plays, and it's a very beautiful Sunday because only the tennis players who won during the first week are there, and they train themselves in Orangi Park in Wimbledon. I wasn't working on that Sunday, so what happened? I dressed myself in white, and I took with me a racket, and security wasn't that tough as it is today, so I was dressed in white, I had my racket with me. I went there, I arrived at the tennis court, and there was Federer who was training, and it's amazing watching Federer training himself because he does different things, for example, strange things with the forehand, with the backhand, or he throws a lot of balls. I mean, if you play tennis, you get crazy if you watch him training himself, but at some point, the divine, the supreme, he who is almighty, he exits the tennis court. And I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna get arrested. They are gonna send me back to Italy. What am I gonna do? I don't care about all of these. I'm gonna have a go. This is my only chance. So Federer, out of the tennis court. I wouldn't be that brave today, but at the time I was. So I talk to him, I stop him, and I say, Roger, well, and he says, yes, tell me. I told him, look, he was just outside the tennis court in which he was training, and I told him, Roger, if you could just go back for a moment to that tennis court, and I go there with you, and we just have just a little short game. Is it good for you? Would it be good for you? Would it change anything for you in your life? I would become someone who has played even for 15 seconds with Roger Federer. It would be the best thing in the world that might ever happen to me. So imagine Federer's face with Meloccaro in front of him and all the coaches there, the ones who were helping them, the physiotherapist, the press people, all of them who were standing there. And I told him, Roger, it doesn't change anything to you, please. It's so significant for me. He looks at me and with a tiny smile, he says, Look, you have quite a good shape. You are dressed in white. You've got your racket. The tennis courts are here. They are close to us. Let's do one thing. And let's try it in a few years. Maybe in a few years we're gonna manage and have a game together. And I'm still waiting for that moment to come. Sooner or later, I know it, I'm gonna play against Federer. Okay, now a final video. If you go on YouTube, you can find lots of videos like this, but this is special. This is one of the coolest. And it is called Twinner. And if you do this, in that game, in the match point, in New York against Djokovic, well, it's amazing. Let's watch it.
Bene.
And for my next act, I'm going to hit a winner while I'm in a box while they saw me in half.
Okay.
So guys, it was a pleasure. Thank you very much. An applause for that man over there. Thank you. Thank you very much. Don't forget Cibalgina, please, which was created where Federer was born. It is very useful. I'm not sponsored by Cibalgina, I don't know why I'm saying this, but thank you very much. It was a real pleasure. How are you, Giovanni? Now I would like to thank Stefano for talking about his passion, which shows how contagious such a beautiful thing can be. I hope that this conference made you curious and that you will come and visit our exhibition. And to conclude, I would like to say that what's interesting about Federer is not only his talent, but also how seriously he takes tennis, he takes his career, how the respect he has for what is in front of him. What we said about Federer is also what we think about you. For example, this is something that can be very useful for every sportsman or anyone who's interested in sports. This was a very short show, and usually at the end of a show the protagonist goes out and then he comes back and does something else. So maybe we should do this. No, wait. We should do something like, again, please, once more. Only because they asked for it very spontaneously. Just like before's clip. Nardi, you were excellent as our Federer. I would also like to say that I was lucky enough to work with Ivan Ljubicic, who trains Federer. This goes to show that Nothing happens by chance in life. You may wonder why Ljubicic? Well, he was Federer's best friend. They used to train together. They used to go on vacations together. And sometimes he would show me the messages Federer would send him before matches, even when he had other trainers. He always asked for pieces of advice to him. Then, when Ljubicic became Federer's trainer, I tried and take the opportunity to know something more, but to find out some secrets, and I wasn't very successful, but still. What was very interesting is that Ivan Ljubicic, I begged him, please tell me something about him. What do you say to God, who created everything? Can you please tell me? And he said, well, I can tell you one thing. You wouldn't believe it, but when I explain things to him, when I tell him what I think he should do, backhands, for example, the one that Federer used when he won against Nadal. I don't know if you remember. So when I explain things to him, he looks at me with the same eyes, and I'm quoting literally, with the same eyes of a kindergarten child. We're talking about a person who won 17 slams, who had 4 children, a wife, 58 houses all over the world, an incredibly rich person. When he tells him you should do this or this, Federer looks at him with the same eyes of a child going to attending tennis courses. And he says, but do you really think I can do this? And he always answers, well, of course, your name is Roger Federer. What else should I tell you? So we're not talking about ordinary people, of course. It's a completely different world. And Ljubicic told me, when I stopped playing, he said, I wasn't fed up with the game, but with the trainings, with press conferences, because it looks like nothing, but when you have a match, you always need to talk about it in English, then maybe in French or in German, as Federer does. You have both TV and radio interviews. He played almost 2,000 matches and he won about 1,220, and every single time he has to give interviews, both TV and radio interviews. So Ivan said, I couldn't stand it anymore. Instead, Federer every single time answers every question. He's incredibly nice. Have you ever heard anyone talking about Federer as an aggressive man or as a man giving standard answers? No, he answers in English, in German, in French. He gives both radio and TV interviews, and I personally saw him. A French journalist went up to him with her phone. A 4-minute interview, Q&A in French. At the end of the interview, she goes, she hadn't pressed play. I mean, you have Federer in front of you. That's worse than what I had done. So she was basically crying. You know, there are people taking Federer away, telling him, you have another interview, you have to come here. Instead, he went back and he did the whole interview from the beginning once again. I mean, people who are not really interested in tennis or sports may think, well, that's nothing, I mean, a 3-minute interview. But I can assure you that in this world, this field, you cannot miss any opportunity. If your camera breaks, then that's gone. But he instead gave her another interview for free from the beginning. If this is not a miracle, what it almost is. Please, can you start saying once more, another one. Yes, okay. Many people think that Roger Federer is a very strong tennis player because he does like this. People think, well, he already knew everything when he was born. He wins because he is very beautiful to watch. Instead, Nadal wins because he does. He's strong because that's what he does. But sorry, no, that's not how it works. Nadal's game is wonderful, of course, but Federer is much more maniac, almost aggressive when he plays. He would kill his own family not to lose a game. I'm telling you this. Someone asked once Ivan Ljubicic, what are you going to do when you stop playing tennis? You may find this interview online as well. Sorry, Ivan Ljubicic asked Roger Federer, what are you going to do when you stop playing tennis? Roger answered, well, I'm going to relax at the pool. You may think he answered this. But actually, Roger Federer answered, well, I was thinking about a marathon. Why a marathon? Well, because to run a marathon, you need to get ready. You need to be competitive. You need to be aggressive. Then Federer doesn't show it. With Nadal, it is more evident, but I can assure you that they are both maniac tennis players. They are both real aggressive when they play, and they would dance on their grandmother's body rather than lose a game. Thank you. Long live Federer, long live Federer's racket. A round of applause for Cibalgina. Thank you.